Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth Podcast. I'm Jack Smith.
And I'm Anish Gupta.
And we have a very, very good episode, honestly, lined up for you. It's been a while. We took a week off with college decisions coming out. Anish was taking some college trips. It was our spring break. We had a lot of stuff going on, so we took a week off. And, of course, the week we take off, there's a lot of big football news. Covered some of it over on our YouTube already, but it's time that we come and we bring it onto the podcast. What we got lined up for you today, me and Anish are going to start this off talking about some of the big draft trades that shook the draft board up, involving the San Francisco 49ers, the Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles. And then we'll transition over. Stricker will come in here with Tyler from Bills Legacy and Instagram page, covering everything about the Bills. They'll have a little bit of an interview, talk about the Bills and everything else around the NFL. And then me and Anish will return, and we'll talk about the Sam Darnold trade to Carolina. If you guys have already seen my YouTube video, you know what I think, but Anish will get into it a little bit. We'll talk more about maybe what it means for the entire NFL. If you haven't seen that video, you get to see what I think of this trade, because I'm the biggest Sam Darnold fan in the world.
Trust me, it gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves.
It gets on Anish's nerves. So he's happy to see him gone. But, Panthers fans, maybe I'll join you guys. We'll get to that later. But first, Anish, you and I are going to talk about the draft trades that shook up the first round. You want to talk about them? The 49ers trading up to pick 3, the Dolphins, trading back, moving back up with the Eagles. Just get into your whole idea and your opinion about these trades.
So I think with the whole, it was crazy when I found out, I think I was working out and then I just checked my phone and I just see this blockbuster move. And, obviously us being from the Bay Area, we're surrounded by a lot of Niners fans. So everybody was going berserk. And I think the details were, it was the number 3 pick for a 2021, the Niners 12th pick, 2 first-round picks in the following 2 years, so 2022, 2023, and a 2022 third. So, when my first thought, obviously, as well as everybody, was, what the hell? You give up that much to move up 9 spots. But then when I look more and more into it, and people asked me, right, I got a lot of people that asked me, a lot of Niner fans saying, did we take the dub? Did the Dolphins take the dub, right? So I know both sides. I have a couple friends that are Dolphins fans, and I have a couple friends that are Niners fans. Both kind of asked me, who really won this trade? And to be honest, you can't say that right now. You don't know because, okay, yeah. First instinct again was you trade up to number 3, you're going to take a quarterback, and obviously everyone agrees with that, right? You don't do that trade unless you're taking a quarterback. And I always tell people, I told Jack this, I think before this happened on the last episode, I said teams will always overcompensate. They will always overpay to move up for a quarterback. And that's exactly what happened. It's not necessarily an overpay if you got your guy. Now, that's the problem with it is, if this was for a guy like Trevor Lawrence, right, or at least a surefire prospect, okay. But at 3, you're kind of getting the leftovers, right? You're getting the Jets leftover. And we'll kind of delve into it a little bit more with the Sam Darnold
not,
trade.
Honestly. They might not get the Jets leftovers. They go with Mac Jones.
Look, I think it's it's clear as day that I've said that the Jets take Zach Wilson. I've been saying it for almost a month now, ever since I made that Justin Fields, Zach Wilson video. So, essentially that leaves Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones to the Niners. And look, there's just not a surefire prospect there. As much as I love Justin Fields, watching him at Ohio State, there's just not a surefire guy there. And you're taking a chance unless Kyle Shanahan really saw something from any 3 of these guys at their pro day or just even before, in film. I really don't get the whole move to go to 3. I think the Jets at 2 was something to really strive for. Even the Jags at 1, because if you offered this type of package to Jacksonville, I know they wouldn't have taken it maybe a little bit more, but you should have tried. I'm sure they did.
I know they tried for the Jets pick. The Jets just weren't budging. And it's everyone knows they're going with Zach Wilson now.
Yeah.
And so knowing that, the Niners just probably wanted to go for their guy.
Yeah. And I think at 3, right, you take one of those guys. Look, I'm a believer that they should take Justin Fields at 3. I think his mobility and his athleticism and his raw throwing ability is really great for a Shanahan offense. And I think at 3, right, with Shanahan, he wants, so I saw a video that was basically showing the Super Bowl, and they showed that throw that Jimmy Garoppolo missed, right, against the Chiefs. And they said, okay, who is the guy that can make that throw? I feel like if you give Justin Fields a year under Jimmy Garoppolo, I think they should start Jimmy G at the beginning of the season. I say give him a year redshirt and really let him learn the playbook. Give him a Mahomes type of, sitting on the bench, maybe week 17, throw him out there, right? Or just give him maybe 1 or 2 games in the first year. Really let him understand the playbook, and I think he will flourish because he's mobile, he's quick, he can go fast, he can run a fast-paced offense. I saw that at Ohio State. He tends to hold the ball a little bit too long. It's a little bit of that Carson Wentz syndrome, especially when I watched this film when comparing the two. But I think he's a perfect fit for just what Shanahan has been known to run. But another case could be made on the other side that Mac Jones is a perfect fit because Shanahan ran the whole Kirk Cousins, Matt Shaw, Matt Ryan, and what does Mac Jones resemble? Those guys
exactly.
Yeah, but the thing is with Mac Jones, right? He's inexperienced, he's very accurate, but a lot of the plays I did a scouting report on him too, and a lot of the plays I saw with him was just there was so much receiver separation, and that's he had a great system around him. So, but the thing is, the Niners do too. So it's kind of how much will that kind of transition to the NFL? How much will he transition like that? The thing is, he can hit an open throw. He will, he'll hit it. So
he wouldn't miss that throw Jimmy Garoppolo hit. He just might not make many other plays outside of that.
Yeah,
I mean, he's the most pro ready of the guys, and that's kind of the thing that people are saying.
Yeah, because he's played in big games. He's used to the pressure. He played well in the SEC championship. He played well in the national championship. He just really has been exemplary throughout. And I think the main question, or maybe I'll pass it on to you, Jack, is what do you let's say the Niners do take a guy, or well, they will take a guy, but can that person? Will he, 1, start right away? 2, should they stick with Jimmy Garoppolo? Right. So kind of a joint question. Should they stick with Jimmy G week 1? And will this guy elevate them this year, or will it take some time for them to elevate?
I think I'm. It's no secret that I'm not a big Jimmy Garoppolo fan, and they've already said they're going to keep him on the roster. And so I think, like we're talking about, they're going to grab their guy, and I really don't think that they traded up all the way from 12 to pick 3, giving up their first rounders in the next 2 years to take someone that they're going to sit for a year. It just doesn't.
No, see, you can. You can do it though.
You could, and it totally can. But it doesn't seem like the Niners. It doesn't seem like Kyle Shanahan. Yeah. They're kind of moved to trade up that much to take a guy even if they take Trey Lance there, who's just going to sit behind Jimmy G. If you're trading up this far when you already have Jimmy G, you're taking someone that you want to replace him now. And so, and honestly, when the rumors for Mac Jones started coming out, it upset me so much. It's oh, that's just so dumb. They're going to waste this big move that they made, this opportunity to draft Justin Fields or even Trey Lance. I'm not the biggest Trey Lance fan, but I said specifically in the scouting report I did, if he went to the Niners, I think that's a perfect fit. I think that's one of the places he could definitely succeed.
Yeah, at 12 we were thinking it, but then obviously the whole quarterback hype up kind of maybe boosted their draft stock.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I know they traded to 3 so they could be guaranteed to get their guy of those 3. Yeah. But Mac Jones was going to be there after 5. He was probably going to be there after pick 7. He was going to last. So if they're really going with Mac Jones.
Do you know that for a fact?
So early on, I said, when he was kind of building up, I said he's going to be a top 20 pick. And then I shifted. I said he's definitely going top 15. And then at some point I said, you know what? I think all of the 5 quarterbacks are going to go inside the top 10. And everyone's like, what? What? Come on.
I know. I think now that's the consensus.
And now they could all go in the top 5. We don't even know. But I just don't think that maybe if during the draft they trade up to 3 because they're getting a little bit of whip. But this is so early before. They're trading up to pick 3 before so much has happened. So much is going to happen from now to draft day that they will not have accounted for. So I get it if maybe they're trading up to pick 3. They're we want Mac Jones. We just want to be there at 3 so we don't have to stress about it. Focus on our later round picks. Focus on other stuff. But also if they're drafting Mac Jones, the most pro-ready quarterback, then it doesn't make sense to have Jimmy Garoppolo. So But it also doesn't make
I mean,
sense to throw any smoke.
but it creates, so they have that QB camp, right? So they'll have time at least to really decide. And I think if you start, again, give them time in a Shanahan playbook. It's very complicated. I think it took, I mean, Jimmy G kind of hit the ball rolling, but actually he didn't start right away. So he came in, had a couple weeks, and then I think it was Beathard at the time. He got hurt, and then Jimmy G comes in. His first play was that touchdown, the very final play of the game. I don't know if you remember. I think it was Niners Seahawks, and then he obviously won the 6th straight. But I think with the whole situation now, right? So you take a guy, at least throw him in the fire, right?
Yeah.
And see what they do. And I'm still thinking that Jimmy G will win it. Obviously, he's not going to be completely happy about this, but I mean, he made his money. But
imagine he just comes out like Aaron Rodgers, just wins an MVP, casually just wins an MVP.
Won't happen.
No, it won't. But so Mac Jones is very similar to Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I feel like just a little bit less mobile Jimmy G, but I think he's a more accurate thrower. I think he's a smarter thrower. But also Jimmy G's never played with these kind of weapons. I know you love Deebo Samuel, but Deebo Samuel is no Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, and all the other guys Mac Jones is thrown to.
Hey, I'm just saying, give him a full year. No, there's still weapons there. Like the Niners still have a good offense around
and George Kittle. I mean, obviously George Kittle.
I think that's a rookie quarterback's best friend, a good tight end.
Oh, yeah.
So a security blanket, or if you will, like it helped Zach Ertz with Wentz or
Justin
Kelsey
Herbert last year.
Right? Yeah, Herbert, and at least whatever we got to see of Hunter Henry. So just secure, or at least some type of security blanket is always great. And I think, to maybe with the Niners, to kind of wrap up with the Niners, because Shrikar obviously wants to touch on it a little bit more.
So disclaimer, Shrikar is going to have, in a future episode, he's going to have a guest on Instagram, a Niners guest that he's been on the channel before. You'll get to see him later in a future episode. Runs the Instagram page, our SF49ers. Raj, who's a friend of the channel, we've had on before. Shrikar is going to talk and break this whole thing down with him. So you'll get more of their opinion, actual Niners fans who probably know a little bit more about the Niners than we do, and who care a little bit more about the situation in the pick at 3.
Love the Niners, but not like that.
I mean, to give our opinions, I think we both lean more towards that Justin Fields thing. I just don't see the potential.
I'm leaning Fields.
I don't see the potential with Mac Jones. Like, how much better can he be than Jimmy G?
I think he's just more. I think he throws more accurate ball, but you're right. I think you're stuck. Like Fields gives you a higher ceiling. That's what I'll say.
Way higher.
Even Lance too. Like
Lance has a higher ceiling than Fields, in my opinion. I really think that.
I disagree, because look, Lance. Well,
higher ceiling. I just don't think it's. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think with Lance, it's just, again, he has less experience than Mac Jones. He hasn't thrown 300 passes in college.
Exactly.
He hasn't thrown over 18
where if he does that and he learns.
No. That's what I'm saying. I give you the ceiling, but I still think Fields, because I think he's more fundamentally sound, and I think he's not a better runner, but I think he's better at throwing on the run and better in play action. But again, the little nitpicking things. I mean, I would say, again, we both, I think, would side with Fields. I think if they do take a quarterback, though, it's going, like, this team is not, I don't know if they're a quarterback away.
They're super team that just had injuries last year.
They're on the cusp. They're on the cusp, because look, I think people are like, their defense is, it's legit. How much will the loss of Richard Sherman, because I think he's pretty much gone, how much will the loss affect them? That's something that remains to be seen. But because he comes in first year and just absolutely, brings them up. So they, that's also something to be concerned about. Also, this offense, I love Deebo Samuel, but been injured year 2. Let's see how he is.
Brandon Ayuk's going to be good.
Yeah, their running back room, right?
They make it work.
They'll make it work. Again, offensive line's been solid. So but I don't know if they're a quarterback away, because I still want to see Nick Bosa come back. I still want to see this defense really come back together. Jason Brett being a number 1 corner now, that's a little bit questions, but I think they're on the cusp of that Super Bowl bubble. Yeah. You can throw them in there. I think they're a playoff team. But yeah, I think to wrap it up, I think quarterback will definitely help them, and I think Fields will give them the best chance to be that Super Bowl, that perennial Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on, as we move to kind of the rest of the trades, we can't really diagnose a winner yet, because it's not like they're trading for a player we already know about. They're trading to execute their plan. The Niners are trading up for their guy. And so a lot of
They're
people may
trading
say
up
like,
for the long term.
yeah.
They want their guy for the future.
And so, we may sitting in our desk chairs in front of a computer with some lights and say, they got to go with Justin Fields. Like, what are they doing if they take Mac Jones? But you got to realize they're an NFL team with scouts who are being paid good money to watch all these players, head coaches who are just
like
insanely
we give
knowledgeable.
Scouting reports, but like
we're no Kyle Shanahan. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But so, we can sit here and try and say there's a winner for the trade, but first of all, we don't know who they're going with, so we don't know how it'll work out. They're trading up for their plan. They know what the value is at that pick because they know who they would take there. So like they know their plan. Same with Miami. Like Miami knows their plan. So
yeah,
we may look now and say, oh my God, look, the Niners gave up so much. But if that's to take their guy who ends up, getting them to Super Bowls down the line and winning them some Super Bowls, they're not going to care that they don't have first round picks the next 2 years because they got their guy this year. So like, it's tough to say it because it's a big trade, but there is no winner here. We don't know that yet. We'll know 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line who won the trade. But right now we have no idea because also, the Niners could lose in the NFC Championship game and then lose in the Super Bowl, and they've got the 30th and 31st picks the next couple of years. And that's just kind of like, then the Dolphins are sitting there with those picks thinking, decent value. And what if they miss on those picks? So it's like with draft trades, you don't know the winner until you see how the players pan out, how the picks pan out, who they go with. So I guess that's kind of what I'm saying. But Anish, if you want to move on to Miami, they trade all the way down to pick 12 and they move back up to pick 6. What you think of their trades, and then bring in the Eagles as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna also throw out the fact that like these trades happen all the time. Like,
yeah.
I mean, so like RG3 2012, Rams, Jared Goff 2016. Yeah. So you only really find out after. But to go with Miami,
think about it this way. Think about how great people thought the Jets trading up to pick 3 was. The Jets traded up to remember the last time the Jets.
I didn't like it. What? No.
So they traded up with Indianapolis. Think about it. I mean, this is just an example. They traded up to Indianapolis to pick 3, and they drafted Sam Darnold. You know who the Colts got out of that? They got Quentin Nelson, Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith. Sorry, Darius Leonard, and I think Braden Smith, who were like 3 of the best players on their team.
They had one of the best drafts of the decade in that year. So, I mean.
So you never know. You never know.
Yeah. But let me transition to the Dolphins and the Eagles. So the details on that trade was, I think the Eagles got the 12th pick and let's see it right here, 4th round pick in exchange for, the 2022 first round pick for Miami next year. And Miami gets the 6th pick, a 5th round pick in this year's draft. So Miami goes back up to 6. Now, basically what they did is they gave themselves options, and this, honestly, if you're a Bengals fan, you should be happy, right? I hopped on a good friend of mine, Jared, who runs an Instagram page, Bengals Central. You guys should check that out. I talked to him with that. Bengals fans basically make their choice. It's going to be Chase or Sewell for them, because I don't think Atlanta will take either. Now I
think Atlanta could take Sewell, but
yeah, I mean,
I think it's more likely they go Pitts.
Yeah, Pitts, or they trade down. But I think that gives now the Dolphins the real option of, Chase or Smith, Sewell or Smith, like just so many options there. They're going to get a skill guy. And I'm really hoping for them they get Jamar Chase. That's what I'm hoping, because I think Sewell will go. I mean, there's an off chance they take Slater if they really, if Sewell's gone, they're like, oh crap, we need an offensive lineman. Let's just take the guy there, because they've got
trade down for him. Like,
or they trade it. Like the Dolphins are basically trying to secure themselves up future, because think about it. They're saying to themselves, okay, we're committing to Tua, because at 3 they could have gotten a guy, and they're saying, no, you know what, we're going to commit to Tua for this year. But let's say he doesn't pan out. You're giving yourselves 2 first round picks, right, next year's, to, if you want a guy, you can get him. So you're essentially, that's one thing I think that they're trying to do. 2, obviously get more skill positions that are young. They already have a decent mix of veterans and young players, like Byron Jones. They spent a bunch of money in free agency for older guys, which I thought was very smart. And that was kind of what I saw, right? A good mix, great coach, which is why I thought they would do so well this year. And I think they're only going to add on to that. Again, 2 is an X factor. I don't want to really go into that. But I think in the trade details, so Jack and I, right before we hopped on, we actually disagreed on the thing for the Eagles. So I'll actually let Jack start on that. But I think for the Dolphins, I think we can all agree this is a great move. They put, like, yes, you're giving up your first round pick that I doubt is going to be that good next year. And you're essentially swapping it with the Niners pick, which I think will be around the same. Like, I think the Dolphins and the Niners will both make the playoffs. I don't know who's going to go farther.
It shows some great confidence, though. Like they're trying. I mean, the reason they traded off their pick is they're trying to like show confidence that they think their pick's going to be less valuable,
pretty low.
And that could instill something in players. But for the Dolphins, I mean, at pick 3, everyone's like, okay, who are they going to go with? Pitts, Chase, or Sewell? 2 of those guys are going to be there.
Or a quarterback. They thought that there were thoughts of going.
I think those rumors really dissipated when they said they were going to stick with Tua. But they were thinking Pitts, Sewell, or Chase. Who are you going to go with? And now, when they're at pick 6, they're either going to have all 3 of those options there or 2 of them. And they ended up picking up a first-round pick just to move back 3 spots to take the exact same guy they probably were going to take. Like, I don't think they were going to take Kyle Pitts at 3, but I think Kyle Pitts will go at 4. Or there's a trade back and a quarterback goes, and then all 3 of them are sitting there. They just get to make the same decision. So that was just a great trade to pick up value. Yep. And while I also agree that the Eagles trade back got them some great value, trading back from 6 to 12 and picking up the future first, that's some great value. I don't agree with the idea to trade down, though. That's what I don't agree with.
I don't get why, though. Like, why is that bad?
So think about the positions that the Eagles need most are wide receiver and corner. And wide receiver, they had sitting there at pick 6, it looked like Jamar Chase was going to fall into their lap.
Yeah.
It really did. And Eagles fans, we're going to get Jamar Chase. It's going to be great. And if they don't, great. Devonta Smith is a great consolation prize, or even Jalen Waddle if they like him more. All 3 of those guys are going to be gone by 12. All 3 of them are going to be gone by 12. And so I just don't understand why this team needed to trade down. I think the teams that need to trade down are the ones that just need to build up with good picks. But the pick that they're getting back isn't even going to be a great pick. And Howie Roseman has proved that he can't make good picks at that level. He picked Jalen Reagor last year over Justin Jefferson down low on the board. And now I think that pick will be even lower.
We were all so mad at that. Like, oh my God.
So Howie Roseman loves to act like he loves to make moves to make him look like the smartest guy in the room. Like, oh, I know something you don't. I'm going to take Jalen Reagor, not Justin Jefferson. Go against the consensus. And so now he's sitting there at pick 6, and he's like, everyone's like, oh, you're going to get Jamar Chase. He's like, no, watch this. Let's trade down to pick 12. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I get it was a good trade analytically, and the value they got, it's a good trade. But at pick 12, like, what are you going to go with now? Are you going to reach for JOK or a sliding Parsons with offseason issues down the board, or like maybe Caleb Farley's there and you take him even though he's got the back issues? Like, there just isn't a good pick for me at 12. And they could have had a slam dunk pick, blue chip prospect in Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith at pick 6, fixed all their problems. Or if they wanted to reach, maybe grab a corner. I just don't get the idea to trade back. Good trade. I just don't understand why they did it.
So I'll defend them because I think for the Eagles, they've already had this receiver issue. Who'd they take? I don't even know his name. It's like Arcega-Whiteside.
Oh, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, over
DK
Arcega-Whiteside
over DK Metcalf. Yeah. Reagor over J. Jeff. Like, they've already whiffed. So, and here's the problem. I think receivers, it's very hard to make out the NFL transition. Look, Jack did a video, obviously, on Smith versus Chase, and both are great blue chip prospects, as he said, but you never know. Some of them just flop. And I think, Smith has his questions with the size. Chase obviously missed a year. And there's some questions with him, how he will make that transition without a great quarterback in Joe Burrow. So, or playing alongside Justin Jefferson gave him a lot of separation. So, they both have their questions. And I think Roseman is essentially putting himself back so he can really get, I think Parsons here at 12, I should have mentioned this in my JOK Parsons video. I didn't even realize, the Eagles, the only linebacker group that was worse than my Browns was the Eagles. It was atrociously bad. And I think Parsons, yes, there's some off the field issues. I know. But at 12, I would take him. I think he would make this linebacker room so much better. And I think what you're doing also is you're building for that. You're getting an extra pick. That extra first, I don't care where it is, you're still going to get someone valuable. Yeah. And I think with the Eagles, what you want to do is try and stock up your future, because as of right now, I'm not sure if Jalen Hurts is the guy. I think we only got 4 solid games, 4 games out of him, but they were solid games, each of them. I think he came in against Green Bay, played well. beat the Saints when they were the 1 seed. He honestly went toe-to-toe with Kyler Murray, played well against Sandy Dalton, and obviously got pulled against Washington. But great games from Jalen Hurts, at least surprisingly. You just throw him under the fire, and bad offensive line that was injured. No receivers, pplayed really well. So
it was impressive,
or at least in those
impressed.
circumstances. So let's see what he does, right? Like give him an offseason of being the number 1 guy. And I said this, right? Trading away Carson Wentz tells Jalen Hurts, okay, this is your team. That is all I wanted the Eagles to do throughout with Wentz, and they're finally doing it with Hurts, so that's really good.
Wait, but they got Joe Flacco. Like, he's an elite quarterback. Coming for Jalen Hurts' spot.
Imagine Joe Flacco comes in, does a Nick Foles run. That would just be the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, it'd be pretty funny.
But I think this is good for Jalen Hurts, and I think, let's say they do go with Parsons at 12. The receiver room, yeah, it's pretty bad, but how much better? I think you're putting a lot of pressure on a guy like Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith to really uplift this receiver room. And what if that is too much pressure to them to where they just can't be a number 1? For example, Justin Jefferson had Adam Thielen. People don't realize how much kind of pressure Adam Thielen took off Justin Jefferson, because in fact, for the first half of the year, Adam Thielen was the main guy. Adam Thielen was getting all the red zone targets. Adam Thielen was the guy drawing more double teams. And then obviously Justin Jefferson took off, Thielen got hurt and stuff like that. So, can Chase or Smith really carry? They have the potential to, but that's the question. So I think Howie Roseman is basically trying to diminish the amount of questions that he has to have at pick 6. And I think at pick 12, there's less questions of who he can take. Because you never know. Let's say these quarterbacks start going, right? One of them could fall, but even then, Parsons right there, right? Even an offensive line like Vera Tucker or something like that, that leaves him with options that are just less not necessarily blue chips that can flop, but I think just guys that are, team need.
There's just less pressure at pick 12.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a little bit less pressure.
That's what I thought he was doing. And that's why I applaud it. And that 2022 first, I don't care where it is. I expect it to be maybe between 20 and 25.
Yeah.
Unless the Dolphins go to the Super Bowl, which I don't know, possible. But I think 2025 or to 25 is the range I see it in. And you can easily get a good player of value there. So
maybe Tua sucks, and that pick's even better than we think it is right now. And also in think about with Hurts, then now you have 2 first-rounders next year. If he's not good, package those 2 firsts and trade up for a quarterback. Or if he is good, you have those 2 firsts to get him an offensive lineman and a weapon. So I guess it does make a little bit of sense.
Giving you options.
It does make a little bit of sense, but I just feel like they're not going all in on Hurts with this draft and that trade back. And it just with the people sitting there on the board.
So I think their all-in move was trading Wentz. That was my point. I think the all-in was trading Wentz away.
But they could have doubled down. I kind of wish they doubled down. I wish they doubled down, and maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they're not high on those 2 receivers. Again, we can't sit here and judge their moves because they've got stuff in their head that it's just their plan. It's their draft board. But
I highly doubt they're thinking to themselves, "Oh, Jamar Chase sucks." But hey, these are the same guys that took. Oh my God, man!
I'm just scared that's happening again. I'm scared they're overthinking this.
We've mentioned this again.
That sums it up. I'm scared they're overthinking this. That's kind of what I am.
That's fine. That's fine. That's a fine thing to say. But just the throwback. All 3 of us, we threw our mock draft out, right? That was the only pick that was all 3 of us consensus. We literally brushed over. We're like, okay, it's a lock. Justin Jefferson. What was it? 22, I think, to Philly. Yeah. We all said that, and then they just.
I think that when I was watching the draft, the Eagles were on the board, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. I know who this pick is." I come back, I'm like, wait. I'm like, wait, who took Jalen Reagor this early? The Eagles. I'm like, what?
The Vikings were literally like, thank you. I know. It was like a punt.
The Eagles, they could have traded up for CeeDee Lamb. They're like, nah, let's not do that. And then their pick comes. They're like, we could take Justin Jefferson. Let's take Jalen Reagor.
You guy. Yeah. No disrespect to Jalen Reagor, but Justin Jefferson, played at a better school, better competition. I thought he was a better prospect.
And he was just better in general and didn't have any injury. That could go down. If Justin Jefferson keeps on this pace and becomes a Hall of Famer, that could go down as literally one of the worst draft picks ever. And same with the year.
But Reagor isn't too bad. He's not
a glorified punt returner. Rager's a
Yeah.
glorified punt returner with potential. Like that's what they got.
Yeah.
And the year
I
before they got Jager Whiteside over DK Metcalf. So
that. To this
look,
day, I don't know what.
knowing that the way the Eagles draft, it makes me a little bit skeptical of this move, and I'm scared they're overthinking it. But maybe we're overthinking all this a little bit too much. We're gonna let Streetcar coming in here. Switch to him. He's got an interview with Bill's Legacy on Instagram. I know he's gonna say it too, but make sure you go follow them on Instagram. We'll be back after he talking about the Sam Darnold trade. So Streetcar, take it away.
Thank you, Jack and Anish. I'm here with my man Tyler from Bill's Legacy. Go ahead and introduce yourself. One of the best Bills pages on Instagram.
Yes, sir. All right. I mean, I'm Tyler from Bill's Legacy, obviously, as he stated. I basically just run an account on Instagram with some news, updates, all that stuff. Like, basically an opinion-based account. Really just sharing, like, what I feel and I basically can connect with everybody and see how the fan base feels, and it's just fun to run. And, yeah.
All right. Well, first question for you, Tyler. The offseason is now in full swing. We're done with this first wave of free agency. We got pretty much a month until the draft. What do you think of the Bills offseason so far? Because as we know, like these guys are contenders. So
Yeah.
Do you think Brandon Beane's done a good job so far?
I think he's done a great job. I mean, he obviously wanted to stick with our two current running backs, Moss and Singletary, and then added Breida. But he obviously, because he also stated that he didn't really feel like our running backs were the problem. And then clearly he didn't feel like our own line was a problem either because he re-signed the same exact guys and kept everybody around. So it's kind of interesting. I think he thinks that we can get it done on the ground with who we have. And then Breida is just a nice speed guy. He's a good pass catcher. So it's good. We're good there. And then tight end, we added Hollister. And that'll be good for Knox too. Get a little bit of competition in there. I think it's an upgrade from Croft as well. And then Smith obviously got traded. So with Hollister and Knox at tight end, I think we're in a good spot. Like I said, Breida is a good thing. Just add speed to our offense. And then I think the Trubisky signing is actually a pretty good signing. Like it's underrated. It's underrated because now like Barkley, I mean, he was great for Allen. He helped him develop a lot and stuff. But now if Allen, hopefully never, but if he happens to go down, like now we got maybe the best backup in the league now, one of at least, who I think could start somewhere. But like being said, like this could be a year for him to just kind of like relax, just focus up, and then like kind of go back out into the league and find himself a home. It's more of like a restart year for him. But like I said, if Allen ever goes down, I mean, we're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, with Trubisky, I mean, people go straight to hating on the guy, but I mean, he's shown flashes. We saw that last year, week 1. I mean, he willed them to that win over Detroit. I mean, it's better than Matt Barkley. It's definitely an upgrade in that sense. I mean, hopefully, knock on wood, Josh Allen doesn't go down. I mean, it'd have to be catastrophic to see Mitch Trubisky in the game for the Bills, pretty much. And as you said with the running backs, Najee Harris has been a constant target for the Bills in many mock drafts I've seen. Personally, if I was the Bills, I would trade down just because, I mean, there's no real pressing needs outside of maybe pass rusher or I guess running back. But, you know, as you said, if Brandon Beane is confident in his running back room, you know, you can make it work with Devin Singletary. You can make it work with Zach Moss. These guys are developmental pieces. You know, they're not all pro talents just yet, but who knows? They could be. They could experience a breakout this year. As Allen keeps getting better, you know, the running game could keep getting better. It's just a growing offense. It's dynamic in that way. One piece we forgot to mention on offense, Emmanuel Sanders is a new Bill.
Yeah.
He's very underrated in my opinion, especially coming to the Bills. He can make any team just that much better. I saw it firsthand with the Niners. I mean, without him, this receiver room didn't have that type of veteran leadership that it needed. And now, I mean, you do have at least some sort of a veteran presence because Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley have been in the league for some time now. But adding Emmanuel Sanders, this receiver depth chart, it's deep now. So I love that move. You let go of John Brown. I think he went to Las Vegas, I believe. And I think you'll be fine there. But I mean, if you get Emmanuel Sanders to replace him, that's an immediate upgrade in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he brings a veteran presence to like help out guys like Gabriel Davis, Isaiah Hodgins, who didn't really play last year because of his shoulder injury, I think it was. But also, it just brings in competition. And also, I saw a stat. He was like, in terms of separation, he was like third best.
Yep, he's a great route runner.
Great route runner. he's actually got some speed to him that's underrated as well. He's got great hands. I mean, it's not like a huge pickup, but like it's significant. And I think that he can really help us out. And I think it's a pretty big upgrade from Brown too, because also the thing is, like, I don't want to say Brown really, like, it's not like an upgrade, like, but like he just couldn't stay healthy.
Yep.
Like
it's unfortunate because he's got traits to him that like every team loves. He's a speed guy. Perfect deep threat too.
Yeah. And he's got good hands too. Like when he was healthy and he played, like I think 2 years ago it was, he had over 1,000 yards. He was our wide receiver 1. He looked amazing.
Yep.
Last year, even when he was healthy, like he was playing like banged up. He'd have like 1 or 0 catches even. Like against the Chiefs, the first time he played them, he was like healthy and he had like 0 impact on the game. I don't even think he had a catch. But no, yeah, he's good. But just gonna stay healthy. And Sanders, like you said, I think he fits in with their offense really well.
And I know on defense, you guys re-signed Matt Milano. Love that move. At first, I was kind of iffy just because of the contract details and the money you were giving him. But honestly, you had to overpay to keep him. And Matt Milano is just perfect in this system. And, it's all about keeping your defense intact. That's what helps your team win Super Bowls. It's all about depth and, re-signing your guys. We saw the Bucks, the Niners. They've had great offseasons because they're able to bring their guys back. And with the Bills, I feel like they're going for the same thing. And also on defense, I mean, J.J. Watt, we know the Bills were trying to get in on those sweepstakes, but are you happy now that you've seen what Arizona gave him? I feel like they overpaid for him, but do you think that the Bills not, going super duper all in on JJ Watt and not signing him was the right move at this point? Because from what the contract reflects, maybe it was in the Bills' best interest because now you can get a great pass rusher in round 2, maybe someone like Jason Owe. There will be studs in the second round or third round.
Yep. I honestly think it was a blessing in disguise. Because like you said, what did they give him? Like $17.5 million per year, something like that?
Wasn't it like that? Yeah, it was. He got a lot of guaranteed money too.
Yeah, it was up there. And like, I mean, he's good, don't get me wrong. But like, A, he's out of his prime, obviously. And B, another guy who just can't stay healthy.
Yep.
Like
he's banged up.
Yeah. And I mean, he's a monster. He requires double teams all around him. But I don't think paying a guy, especially with our situation, like you said, we can get the guy even in the second, maybe even third round. I mean, where he can just come in and then have an impact. But also, Epinesa is good. Hughes is still good. Like Hughes is actually one of the most underrated edges.
Yeah, Jerry Hughes is a beast.
All of yeah. I mean, his like win percentage was like one of the highest in the league. He had a lot of QB hits. Like he is very, very underrated. It's just like we saw last year with the whole D line. Like we were like just a step away from just hitting the quarterback. Like just not hitting the quarterback, but a step away from just getting there. Like it just seemed like we were a little bit like late. And that reminds me, like Tremaine Edmonds. I don't know how he got on this topic, but Tremaine Edmonds, like he just seemed okay. He had a very, very good year last year. I mean, not last year, 2 years ago. And then this past year, he seemed like he kind of like fell off a little bit. But he's like what, 21, 22?
He's still very young.
Very, very young. I mean, there's guys entering the league that are older than him still. It's crazy. What is he going to do? His 4th year, I believe.
I think it's his third, maybe his 4th. Yeah. Because he was drafted in 2017, right?
Yeah. Same year as
his 4th year.
Yeah. So, I mean, he kind of seemed a little bit not confused, but like a little bit late, like I just mentioned. And I think also that his shoulder injury in the beginning of the year, it kind of lingered and played a big part on that because he wasn't as physical and just as like fast kind of as he was before. But like as the year progressed, he got better and better. And you saw like in the playoffs, especially, like he played a big part in our defense.
Yep.
He played amazing. But I think that he was just a little bit banged up and that he wasn't really like this year he had to kind of step up a little bit and like be our guy kind of because our defense itself, especially our D-line, surprisingly took a pretty big hit. So he kind of had to like man up, I guess, and like play a huge role, like which he wasn't necessarily comfortable with, I guess, because I mean, like we said, he's still a very, very young player. But I expect him and Milano to really ball out next year. Milano, I mean, we were 12-1, I think, when he played.
Yep.
Like it's
amazing. He's big. Really he's bigger than people think. I mean,
yeah.
That's why that contract is justified in many ways. And as you said, Edmonds, he's still got loads of potential.
Yeah.
He's still young.
Yeah.
This is a team that's still, developing. And it's crazy. They're a developing team that made the AFC Championship last year. I mean,
think
about the future. I mean, and especially as you said, one guy we haven't even touched on, Josh Allen. How do you think he's going to build off, this MVP caliber season? I mean, I only think he's just going to keep going and going. I don't really see him suffering a major regression, but I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, that's yeah. Well, since he's been in the league, first of all, it's just been hated on. It's crazy.
Yep.
And people just don't want to see him succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's annoying, but I mean, he proves wrong, and he's just taking a huge step every single year. He
Mm-hmm.
went from 10 touchdowns to 12 picks to 20 to 9, and then obviously what was 37 to 10 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that, because touchdowns and stuff that is influenced, I guess, by talent. But what people don't realize is you still have to make the throws.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And
you can't bring in a high school quarterback and he'll just throw 37 touchdowns in the NFL if he had the best offense in the league. You still have to make the throws. And his O-line wasn't even amazing.
Yeah.
They were good.
It was good, but not great. And he made it work.
Yeah. I mean, he's making throws that not many quarterbacks in the league can make. And even just the easy ones, he just makes it look easy. But the easy ones were a problem for him in his previous 2 years. And he just took a really big step again. And I expect him to take a big step next year because you said, the signing of Emmanuel Sanders, you got Diggs, you got Gabe Davis, who I'm expecting to have a big year next year, actually, because he showed signs of he's just going to keep getting better and better.
Yep.
I mean, his hands, he's got strong hands. He dropped one pass all year. I think it was something like that. I mean, you saw Tony toe taps on the sidelines.
Yep. He's a reliable guy. And I mean, Josh Allen, in my opinion, outside of Patrick Mahomes, he's probably the most exciting QB, in my opinion, to watch just live. And he really showed that this past season. He's so dynamic. He can make something out of nothing. He can make off-script plays. It's just when the game slows down, can he get the job done? And I think he can. And that's why, a lot of people have them as Super Bowl contenders. And it's because of that guy right there. A quarterback that was, hated on, as you said, as soon as he came into the league, he's so raw. Will he ever reach his full potential? He did, and he had the right coaching staff around him. But shifting back to the defense here, one more question. Cornerback, Tre'Davious White, we all know, one of the best corners in the NFL, probably the best lockdown corner. You just can't throw on him. But outside of Tre'Davious White, if it's not edge rusher with their first pick, I think they got to go corner because this is also a deep corner class. So do you have anyone in mind for who you want to see the Bills draft at corner?
Well, a big one I think is Asante Samuel Jr. Ooh. And I mean, he's just a physical corner. He's just locked down. I mean, I think he's overlooked. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't even have him in their top 5, their top 3. And I mean, top 3 is pushing it a little bit, but he's good. And I think, like you said, outside of edge, because running back, we talked about before, we got guys for that. It's not that big of a need anymore. And edge, we got guys to work with too. Epinesa is still just gonna get better. Hughes, obviously. And then one more thing before I go back to corner.
For sure.
Allen. He is so slept on because losing Star, that was huge for Ed. Because Ed was just eating double teams all year, he had to play nose instead of just traditional D tackle he played before. So taking on a new position while getting double teamed at it, it's not easy. That's hard.
Yep, that's hard.
And he was great in the run. He was a great run defender this year. It's just he couldn't get to the quarterback as much, but that's not a problem. You need other guys to step up when because if Ed's not going to play a huge role in the pass rush game, I mean, he's doing great in the run game. You need guys to step up, and that's what we kind of missed this year.
Mm-hmm. We've seen with Super Bowl winning D lines in the past. It's got to be a consistent D line. You can't rely on one guy. Can't rely on one star to just carry the load. We've seen that with the Bucks. We've seen that with the Niners. The Chiefs have a consistent D line. It's just you got to be consistent. You can't rely on one guy to do it all.
Yep, and I think our D line also kind of impacted our secondary play this year too, because I mean, especially in the NFL, it's hard. All it takes is a little bit of separation, and NFL quarterbacks can make the throw, the receivers obviously can make the catches. So I think that not getting to the quarterback, I mean, we saw it. Quarterbacks are just standing in the pocket, just untouched. Mm-hmm. So going back to corner, I think that honestly, I like Levi Wallace. I'm a big Levi Wallace supporter. I think that he can get it done. He had a really promising rookie year, and then last year he kind of took a step back a little bit. But I mean, someone I also really want to see is Dane Jackson. Like he actually, when he played, he made just an incredible impact. Like whether it's just breaking up passes, he had a pick, maybe even two.
Mhm.
It was definitely one though. I think it was two. He had a great tackle against Miami, at the opposite goal line. I mean, he's just a stud. And we got him in the 7th round of last year's draft too.
Mhm.
So I think that and then Taron Johnson too.
Yep.
I mean,
Can't forget the big
plays.
hero. Yep.
Yep. They can. I mean, even against the Steelers too. He had a pick six against the Steelers that pretty much won us that game. Completely flipped the momentum, and then
He's a
gave
big
us
speed guy. He's really fast.
Yeah,
I mean,
very fast. And then obviously against the Ravens too, he made probably the biggest play in franchise, like recent franchise history.
yeah.
So I think at corner, I feel like we're missing kind of like a bigger, like physical kind of guy, because right, we have a lot of our defense primarily is just speed. Like in our secondary and linebacker core, it's really just speed. We don't have any guys. That's why we have problems against tight ends too.
Yep.
Because we don't really have any guys like Edmonds is big enough, but he's not fast enough. Milano's fast enough, but he's not really like big enough. I mean, he's like a big body guy, but he's like kind of on the shorter side for like linebackers. But like against tight ends, like guys like Kelsey, Waller, like guys like the just big guys who are also fast too. Like we kind of need help there. I mean, if we can get a physical corner, I mean that would help out there too. And then,
I'd love to see Asante Samuel there.
Yeah.
But just wrapping up here, I know it's early. It's very early. We haven't even gotten to the draft yet. What is your early record prediction for the Bills?
with the 17-game schedule that just came
With
out
the 17 game
today.
schedule.
Yep. I'm thinking maybe 15-2, 14-3.
Okay.
There's not very many games we could lose. We play the Chiefs again, Steelers, and the Buccaneers. Probably gonna be our 3 toughest games. Although the AFC East is like such a slept on division. I
Yep.
mean, the Jets are. I mean, if the Jets have a good draft, and who knows? Like with everything that's going on with Watson right now, everything's like up in the air. But like, well, at this point, I don't think the Jets are in the sweepstakes. I think that they might stick with Darnold. But if I was them, probably
I get Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
I think the Bills are the upper echelon of that division.
Yeah.
The Patriots are
Yep.
going to be steady. I don't really see them being marginally better because
No.
just because they made all those moves doesn't mean like you're automatically just going to flip it around in a year. That's not the Patriot way, you know. So
No.
I think they'll be hovering around that 8 or 9 win range.
Yeah.
And then I think with the Jets, they are improving. I just don't think they're like there yet to be like competitive with the Bills. And then the Dolphins, of course, you know, they're improving too. I think that's the Bills' biggest competition at this point, even just going into the future.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, the Dolphins' future is looking great. I think I saw they have like 6 first rounders within the next 3 years.
Yeah, it's nuts, especially after that Niner trade and the Eagles back to trade. They're looking good.
And I think they don't have a single guy over like 31 or whatever it is. They have an incredibly young.
They're a young team, and they got all the right pieces. I mean, that's the Bills' biggest competition. In terms of record prediction, I'd agree with you. I'd probably say 3 or 4 losses just to be on the safe side. You know, they could go with a 2-loss season. It's just tough to tell with a new like 17-game schedule in place. That extra week, you know, who knows? As a fan, like I love it because it's more football. As a player, it's going to be tough because that's just one extra week, you know, injuries, all this other stuff. It's just fatigue. I mean, I can understand where they come from. It was a big decision. You know, we're going to see a lot more broken records too, because that extra game, you know, maybe that's all the difference it takes. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the Bills do. I mean, I expect them to come out on the top of the division once again. I think they are legit championship contenders. Thank you, Tyler, again for coming on. We'll send it back to you, Jack and Anish.
Thank you, Shrikar. That was great. We're going to finish up this podcast episode by talking about the Sam Darnold trade. Traded him to Carolina. I've already given my thoughts on the YouTube video. I'll give a quick summary of what I think. As a big Sam Darnold fan and as a Jets fan, it sucks to see him go. But the Jets, they did him wrong for years, and I'm just glad that Sam Darnold is going to have a fresh start in Carolina with all the great weapons. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, who he was with the Jets, a good offensive line, Christian McCaffrey. It's just a much better situation for him. And also, I think the Jets needed a fresh start too. Like, they get a fresh start with Zach Wilson. Sam Darnold gets a change of scenery. It works out for both sides. I'm happy. Sam's in a good place. The Jets are going to get Zach Wilson. I'm going to be split half and half. I got an NFC team.
I've told him this. We're not letting this split if Carolina makes the playoffs or something like that. But
that's not what I'm saying. I'm a Jets fan.
Promised me,
I'm a Jets fan, but I'm going to root for Carolina to win 16 of their 17 games, all the ones that they play except for against the Jets. And it works out because it's AFC and NFC.
Yeah, I'll let it slide a little bit.
But anyways, Anish, I know you were definitely upset at the time the trade was made because you wanted the Panthers to go a little bit further in than your favorite player in the league, Sam Darnold. So why don't you tell us what you think of the trade?
Yeah, I mean, before Sam Darnold scampered over to Carolina, I was always a Panther supporter. My mom goes to Charlotte a lot, so I always loved the Panthers. I mean, my initial thoughts were, damn, man, you couldn't have gotten someone better. But, looking at it more and more, I think it is good. I think it's a good trade for both sides. I thought it was tremendous capital that the Jets got back because the Jets have, I think, 19 picks in the next 2 drafts. And they have 5 in the first 3 rounds this year. And they have next year 2 firsts and now 2 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So
they've got
this is just great.
7 in the top 2 rounds in the next 2 years.
I mean, just think about that. 7 in the top 2 rounds. That's amazing. So I think I was very happy with what the Jets got back. And I was always a believer that I thought the Jets were going to improve next year. Now I'm a little bit, I'm putting a notch down because it's a rookie quarterback. So, how will Zach Wilson, I think it's Zach Wilson. Now, Jack,
everyone, I think everyone knows.
Everyone is like, I think it's like a lock. I mean, unless barring anything crazy, lock for Zach Wilson. So I don't know what he's going to do because again, level of competition, right? That was a big thing for him. And Coastal Carolina was like the best team he played. He didn't play well. So, let's see what he does. I think I'm going to move him a notch down just because again, rookie quarterback, a little bit more questions than a guy like Sam Darnold. But to now touch on it with Carolina, this will be Sam Darnold's best, supporting cast I think he's ever had. Robbie Anderson, I'm sorry. I know you tried to escape him, my bro. He is still with you. I'm just kidding.
He kind of did. He did.
I think this is one of the best situations he could have been in, right? An offensive-minded head coach in Matt Rule. Offensive line is getting better. They kept most of their guys that had promise last year, and their receiving core, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. I love those guys. And you got the best running back. And I still think he's the best right now.
I think he's the best running back for a quarterback to have.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe you could argue Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry. Alvin
even Saquon.
I know, not anymore.
Wouldn't entertain it, but I mean, a security blanket and Christian McCaffrey short passes and stuff, that'll really help a guy like Sam Darnold. And
they've worked out together before. They worked together in the offseason.
Yeah. This was before the draft, I think.
I believe it was before the draft. And then after the draft, he went to work with the Jets players. But no, he was working out with Christian McCaffrey for a while. And I think in the draft too, they're either going to get, I think, Rashawn Slater or Kyle Pitts if he falls that far. So like one of those 2 positions that they kind of need will be filled up. No, the Panthers. The Panthers.
The Panthers. Sorry. Yeah. So now, like you were saying, right? I think this will help Darnold. As much as I hate Darnold, I think there's no way if he can't at least improve with this, he's lost. But right, that I was telling this to Jack, right? I think his mechanics are some of them. Can they be fixed? I think he's regressed a little bit in the NFL. He hasn't really done anything relevant. And I think he's just been thrown in this fire that has been very hard on him. I feel like that's why it became a tipping point. And now he's going to get a new situation. He's basically a fresh start, day one guy. Can he erase those 3 years? That's the question. I don't know. And
I think the change of scenery will help with that. His footwork was bad and his decision-making was bad. And he was just he's just playing dumb football. But also, he just didn't seem happy with the Jets. He would turn it on in the interviews. He'd act like nothing was wrong. But just with
because he was never
Gase
a hot tempered guy. Like,
no, he's one of the best quarterbacks with the media, like for sure, like the best handle. He never said a bad word about anyone or about a situation. But just like watching that video that I think his quarterback coach filmed when he walked into his house, he was going like this. He was happy, and you just didn't see that with him for the Jets. And so maybe while he was just a little bit down being on the Jets, he let his footwork slip. He made dumb decisions, and I'm hoping that this change of scenery will allow him to kind of rekindle, like the player that I think he actually is, not the player he was with the Jets.
So I don't know if they have to decide his 5th year right now.
They've already
taken it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's a 2. So at least they have him for 2, like for at least 2.
Yeah, they have him for 2. And so now I'm maybe transitioning to how the Panthers will draft. So at 8, I think, now it's really not in the question of, a quarterback. I don't think they will this year.
Unless one falls.
Yeah, unless someone falls. Like if Lance falls, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, Mac, I don't know. But even in the second round, if you want to take a guy like Davis Mills or, Kellen Mond or something, but like I doubt they will do it now. So, oh wait, no, I'm sorry. They gave the second next year. So I think a lot of options they're giving themselves at 8 though. They can really get another guy to help, like we were saying, right? I mean, if they want, they could get a corner alongside Dante Jackson. If they want, they can get Kyle Pitts if he falls, like you said, or Slater, as you
or
also
Sewell.
mentioned.
Honestly, Sewell could fall if he doesn't go to the Bengals.
No, he's going to be picked up by Dolphins or Cincinnati.
Not if like Pitts goes to the Bengals and then Chase goes to the Dolphins, or like
very unlikely. But
you could even see Jalen Waddle to the Panthers take over that Curtis Samuel role in the slot. That would be absolutely insane. That would
a lot of thought, but then you're putting pressure on Sam Darnold to hit, and I think it's a little bit iffy with that. Like I think if I'm them, I take Slater, or Pitts if he falls, because he'll be a really good security blanket.
I hate taking tight ends in the first round, but I'm coming around on the Kyle Pitts selection. Like
I'm a little bit too, but I am. You're right. Like you and I have always been both skeptical on it, like tight ends that early.
But I think they won't ask him to be a tight end.
Dude.
Like most of the problem is like being a rookie tight end is tough, but I don't think they're going to ask him to do everything a normal tight end does. Like when TJ Hawkinson came in, his rookie year wasn't anything great, but they were asking him to be a blocker, be a receiver. They were asking him to do everything. I really don't think Kyle Pitts will be asked to block much. Like they'll bring in a blocking tight end if they really need to.
Yeah.
And they're going to throw the ball a lot. And Joe Brady, another coach, the offensive coordinator they have from LSU there in his second year, he's going to be great too. But yeah, so if Pitts falls, I did a Madden rebuild. Just decided, throw Sam Darnold in Madden. Of course
you did.
And unfortunately, Kyle Pitts didn't fall to me in the Madden draft. I believe Atlanta took him. Kind of sucked, but I ended up going Slater, and I think that fills a good hole because they've got Taylor Moton on the franchise tag, and God, what's their left tackle's name? He's really getting up there in age. And I'm just blanking on his name. But
Russell Okung.
Russell Okung getting up there in age. So I think having Slater there to either play guard for a year if Okung plays another year, or just put him right at tackle at the first place. I just feel like it's probably the best pick unless a guy like Kyle Pitts is there at 8.
Or even
Surtain would be good too. I like Surtain alongside Dante Jackson because Surtain is not the fastest guy, but Dante Jackson's like you could say he's the fastest corner in the league, and I wouldn't bat an eye at it.
He's agile, like he's the definition of 99 agility. Yeah. that's what he is. So, I covered him a lot last year, but I think the Panthers have put themselves also in a great position. I think Darnold will. So now also, what do they do with Teddy B?
They're gonna trade him.
They should trade him, but there's not a lot of suitors. So, and also the contract is a little big. I told you this Teddy B, I don't know who was high on. I wasn't high on it. I told you this wasn't going to be a good signing.
People forget that as a rookie, Sam Darnold beat out Teddy Bridgewater in a quarterback competition. He just straight beat him out.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. Wow.
And now they're back on the same team, and everyone's like, why would they start Darnold? I'm like, even Darnold.
No,
now.
What? Okay, yeah, no, they definitely start. I think they should definitely start Darnold, because he'll get April. He'll get time to get immersed in the whole playbook. I just have questions. I'm not gonna say anything because last year I was for sure. I was certain this team wouldn't do well. Now I'm not sure, like, because I like the Panthers and I love the supporting cast. Now I really don't know what. So like Jack had him having 3,800 yards, 24 touchdowns. Like, nope, they're going 2-14. I don't know. I really don't know with this Panthers team. I think there's still more questions that need to be answered. I think the draft will give us a lot of that.
Yeah.
I think how Sam Darnold looks in the offseason with these guys will give a lot of that. But if I'm the Panthers, I'm happy with this. And if I'm the Jets, I'm very happy with what I got back. Like, we were under the thought that Sam Darnold might not even go for a second rounder.
I thought he might get a third or a fourth.
Yeah,
Nice.
me too. Like, I was thinking, like, dude, they know they're going to take a quarterback anyway, so they know they're going to trade Sam Darnold. That was my thought. So
yeah.
But with Carolina, and I'm not going to dive into anything, but with the whole Deshaun Watson stuff going on, right? It's not a guy you want to trade for. So the Panthers were kind of running out of options, and they knew they wanted to move on from Teddy B. And they see Sam Darnold available, and they say, you know what? Okay, we're just going to give you a can't pass up offer. And I think that's what they did. And you know what? I'm not against that because I don't think Teddy B was going to succeed anyway. Like, he's
a bridge quarterback. That's what he is.
Yeah, that's
in the name.
Literally, yeah. Yeah, like, and it sucks how his career kind of went down with the injury, but hey, he got his bag. Like, he got a 3-year deal, so not bad.
Okay, how's Sam Darnold gonna do?
You
Does the outlook
really
change? How's he gonna do?
Look, I can't give you a solid answer, but what I'll say is he'll definitely be better for sure. And I'm excited to see what he does with Carolina. Because Carolina was a sleeper playoff team for me, and now
it's
Darnold.
No, it's guaranteed. It's going to be Panthers Jets Super Bowl.
No,
there's, like you said, there's a lot of questions, but it's already a guarantee.
Oh my god, if that happens, I will quit watching football because I know this. He will literally not stop talking about it for the rest of my life. So I will stop watching football if that happens. Like, I will
then
take
either the Jets win the Super Bowl or Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
I will retire. Like, I will quit for a year if that happens.
But then if you can't give me a solid answer on how you think he will do, like you said last year, we had this conversation.
Yeah, sorry.
No, okay. We had this conversation. What does Sam Darnold have to do for it to be considered a success?
Oh yeah, we had that last year too.
This year, to wrap up the episode, get it all wrapped up. What does Sam Darnold have to do to make it a successful season and make it a good trade in your eyes?
Make it a good trade this year. Okay.
This year.
1, he cannot get last in the division. 1. 2, the success has to be make the playoffs. Like, this team is very talented. Like, you can't deny it. And I regardless of quarterback, I thought this was a sleeper playoff team. I've told you guys this. I thought the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Vikings were my NFC sleepers.
Except for the Falcons and the Vikings. Except for the Falcons and the Vikings, I definitely agree with the Panthers.
I like all those 3, and I think if I'm the Panthers, there's 7 spots now. So they should at least contend for one of them. I think a 9-7 7 seed season. That's what I'm hoping for. And I'm not rooting for Darnold. I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't hate the guy. I just hate on the guy. But
because of me. I mean, it's all because of me.
It's because of Jack. Like, but I think he'll definitely improve. Like, this is the best situation he could have possibly had, honestly. Like, I doubt there was going to be a single team that would have thrown him under the fire right away, or at least had him start for right away, besides Carolina. Yeah. So this is good for both sides. I thought it was a great trade.
And I don't know who's counting, but I think that was maybe Anish's 5th time saying thrown under the fire this whole episode. I threw you under the bus a little bit there.
Trades, rookie quarterbacks, it's just the go-to phrase, man.
No, I know. I mean, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope we enjoyed the stuff that we talked about with the draft, Sam Darnold trade, and Srikar's segment with Bill's Legacy. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, leave a comment letting us know what you thought of this episode. And if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or anywhere else that you find the podcast, if you guys would like it, or if you guys wouldn't mind, leave us a 5-star review, subscribe to the podcast. We really appreciate all the support. You guys have been killing it lately. And also, I wanted to mention, for those of you who have stuck around, you guys are our real fans. We have a giveaway on our Instagram for the rest of this week. We're giving away 1 jersey of the winner's choice, an NFL jersey, to celebrate 3,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We want to thank you guys so much. And if you're stuck around here, we know you're a real fan. So go check out the giveaway on our Instagram. You've got about a week. We're probably going to pick the winner on Thursday and announce it on Friday. So get your submissions in on our Instagram. You can see the details on that post. But anyways, we hope you guys enjoy that giveaway and join it. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next time.